year will not be discussed when it comes to the Cowboys. The Frisco Politburo states that any failures were because of Dak's injury. No other issues for America's team. Yeah, the offensive line is riddled with injuries, the secondary has questions, and Mike McCarthy has learned nothing from Green Bay, but they extended Dak! His injury was probably the best thing that happened to his wallet, if we're being honest. Now, if he stays healthy is another question entirely. There are rumors swirling around the dark web about Prescott's shoulder. Is it fucky or is it able to withstand a 17-game season? As the Cowboys are being mum about it, the consensus seems to be this. Don't panic, but panic. Dak has to stay healthy if there's any chance of Dallas making the playoffs, but in Jerry's mind, his dream is accomplished. The great evil is gone. That being Ben DiNucci. The NFC is pretty tight in a lot of aspects. A logical person would just sit back and let it all develop, but I'm an impulsive bastard. I need to make shitty predictions that backfire quickly. The NFC East will surprisingly not change hands again, and it will be Washington that pulls it out. The NFC North is still Packers territory, however. The NFC South, I hate to say it, but Brady and the Buccaneers have it on lockdown. The NFC West, though? That's tough, but I'll have to say San Francisco bounces back if they're healthy. For the wildcards, I'm rolling with Seattle, New Orleans, and the Rams. Once again, many teams can be considered for these 3 slots. With that being said, I should shut the hell up. It's time for some fucking football. This is the daily reminder that Antonio Brown is a Super Bowl champion. As I slowly die on the inside, this also reminds us that Tom Brady led another team to a Super Bowl in New England and pretends it's theirs. This game was as expected for teams starting the year with limited game reps. Sloppy. Tampa Bay could hold on to the goddamn ball, this would have been far more decisive. But they either wanted to keep it close for the ratings or allow the bookies to make bank by not covering the spread. For all the fears, Dak looks solid for coming off a major injury. Shoulder issues? What shoulder issues? His arm was fine enough for me. With the Buccaneers yearning to let their opponent in the game, the unthinkable happened late in the 4th quarter. The Cowboys had the lead. God help us all. Even then, Dallas, you unfortunately ran into a problem many teams facing Brady do. You gave him too much time. Phew, that was a heck of a game, wasn't it? This calls for an officially licensed NFL jacket. We got Roger Goodell's son to sponsor it. And it's all for the low price of $250. Hurry and make your purchase right away before we have to sell it for $50 in the fire sale. Please buy our merchandise. The world is slowly returning to normal. I'm at peace. Do you know why? Because Chargers home games are being dominated by the opposing team's fan base again. Winning the fight for LA, are ya? The only thing you're winning is a small toy in a Cracker Jack box. It's a shame that Justin Herbert had to be good since the Chargers deserve nothing of the sort. Then again, I'm not for personal vendettas. The football gods do more than enough of that against the Chargers. Herbert was off, but that happens to all quarterbacks. Where the real pain is in their curse. Whenever they get an opportunity in the red zone, they are stopped by either the Cowboys' defense or their own misfortune. Shanked field goals and interceptions are all special pieces of the puzzle, but the key is in their final offensive drive. Herbert and company charged down the field, all is well, but the refs decided that everyone came to see them instead of the players. They've been calling bad penalties against both sides all game, but this touchdown to Jared Cook? Illegal shift on LA. Voided TD. Then Herbert has to scramble away on 2nd down and... this is considered a sack now? What the fuck is this league even becoming? Next, they'll say that the Chargers were somehow taunting in an end zone celebration. Relegated to a field goal, you know what's coming. To watch a team that can't stop Dallas's rushing game being slowly chipped away by Dak, Tony, and Zeke, cue the money shot.
For the win! Zerline's kick! Is it long enough? It is into the net for the victory!
You can take the Chargers out of San Diego, but you can't take the San Diego out of the Chargers. Certain victory ripped from their clutches by zebras and a talented cowboy. Shakespeare couldn't write a tragedy any better than this. Rivalry where the downside is that only one team can lose. In Jerry Boy's shrine, everything's bigger. This includes the ass-kickings of the hollowed-out shells of former teams. People thought Philly was good after beating Atlanta. Atlanta! Come on. Dallas and their talent will put that false narrative to rest. Jalen Hurts threw the ball as well as Mike McCarthy can manage a game clock. He was so bad that people were calling for the arm punt sensei Joe Flacco to come in. No one should ever have to suffer through past prime Flacco. Will he somehow allow the team to gain discipline while playing? That offense should be penalized just for being shit. The Cowboys march on to an easy win and the cool breeze of a winning record blowing in the air. So how much of this is that the Cowboys' defense is good, or just that the Eagles suck that much? Speaking of Dallas, we need to head back there to find a prestigious lol cow of the week. A few weeks ago, La'el Collins was suspended by the Shields for failing a mandatory drug test. Before the test, he knew he was boned, and he was contemplating. As Jerry wasn't going to be able to bail him out of this precarious situation, he needed a gambit. It was a Hail Mary pass that fell to the ground 5 yards past the line of scrimmage. The dude tried to bribe a drug test collector. Dude, what the hell did you think was gonna happen? That he'd take the small pittance and lose his job? I'll give him credit for trying to think outside the box, but this isn't local politics, La'el. The NFL has more than enough money to have immunity from the government greed. They could buy a few states if they wanted. With this, I leave you with an important lesson. Don't do drugs. Unless it makes you better at football. Then just don't get caught doing them. Carolina's had an easy schedule to start out the year. It showed against Dallas. Panthers, you unfortunately have to face a team with things called offensive talent and shut down defensive play. As quickly as Dak Prescott can launch artillery fire across the field, Trevon Diggs will swoop in and pick off passes like a hawk grabbing baby ducks for its meal. That's about as cruel as it was. The Cowboys didn't even bother to chew and let you out of your misery. They swallowed them whole, to be digested slowly in a vat of acid. If that's as disgusting as it sounds, it's because it's accurate to how this game played out. No Christian McCaffrey and more does that to a team. Sam Darnold is much better this year, but he can't do it alone. It's the story of football. When the Cowboys are good, the world loses. This year, Dan Quinn is in a position to thrive overseeing the Dallas defense. It's a much better fit for his skills. What is it with the Giants playing the Cowboys in Dallas that makes the injury gods demand insatiable vengeance? Last year, we lost Dak to a brutal season ender. Fortunately for us, Prescott looks very damn good again, and he's back to unlocking the offense's full potential. In the rules of the injury gods, the team that didn't deal with injury last year must suffer retribution. Sure, they didn't ask for Dak to get injured, but they don't care. The gods want penance. And it starts with Saquon. Really? Saquon? Why'd you have to take him out? That dude doesn't deserve it. Danny Derps, too? What the hell did he do? And Kenny Golladay. And more. Jesus, who did Wellington Mara piss off in the afterlife? Dallas won as expected, but the Giants lost more than this game. They lost most of their offense in one fell swoop, just like in 2017. It's not even funny anymore. Stop it, gods! Imagine the Cowboys without a god-awful coach squatting down on their back every single week. They have incredible talent, that's never been the issue. The thing has always been that they've never had good coaching. Dallas has either had ass-kissers, coaches past their prime, or Mike McCarthy leading the way. Knowing McCarthy, all he took from Analytics 101 is to go for it on 4th down. Play calls or situations don't matter, just go for it. And they may even fail in that situation, but talent will excuse executive incompetence. The Cowboys should be wiping the floor with New England's remains. These aren't the Patriots of past years, they're mortal now. Yet for some insane reason, it's not only competitive, but New England is fighting for their lives. Neck and neck in a twisted duel of fate. The Patriots snagged the lead in the 4th quarter, but you can never count out Dallas. Not with their offensive talent. Cue Greg the leg after a long drive. That leg needs some tweaking, it keeps veering to the left. Looks like high-end talent will need to save them again.
Here I come to save the day!
Man, Trevon Diggs is so good. They found a gem in him. So how did the Cowboys screw this up?
Deep ball, and somehow they blew the coverage!
What the hell was the safety doing on that play? I still don't trust the Patriots to hold on, though. Not with the Cowboys' talent on offense. Maybe they can get some luck? Not really. There were some big penalties on Dallas that took them back to their 45. But Dak flexed his elite coach carrying skills to get them back into range for Greg the leg.
Kick by Zerline. Will it hook?
We're headed to overtime. New England gets the ball first and they stall out to punt. Bill, I'm usually the conservative type, but it's 4th and short at your 45 in overtime. You can't afford to give Dallas the ball back with their skill. And with the incredible powers of hindsight, the Cowboys' star power goes to work and gives Gillette Stadium a final air show to end it all.
Here I come to save the day!
This shouldn't have been close, but Dallas escapes with a victory thanks to the wonders of high-end talent. Be warned, though. You won't survive like this for long. Mike McCarthy is going to hold back this team. Celebrate for now, but Dallas can't dance like this all season. January is far more unforgiving. Dallas Cowboy arrogance is running rampant across the land. Much to the horror of those around the world, the blue star with white trim attempts to assert its dominance. But perhaps we will get a break from it this week. They're resting Dak Prescott due to a lingering calf injury. And instead we get Cooper Rush in his first career start. You think this would be a surefire win for their opponent, but then you look who it is. The Vikings. They are ripe for blowing this sort of game. It's in their history. It's in their blood. And no matter what they do, they cannot avoid their recessive genes. Dallas's defense will carry the slack today. Minnesota could do absolutely nothing against them. I know the Cowboy defense isn't as porous as previous iterations, but to go 1 for 13 on third down conversions? What the fuck is wrong with you? Why is Mike Zimmer still here? So we can hold back all of the talent on this roster? Fuck, Dallas is playing Cooper Rush and he looks decent. Kellen Moore is unlocking his talents. You see that, Vikings? That's called proper play calling. Mike McCarthy doesn't give a shit and is just letting his players do the work. You can learn something from that, Zimmer. Would make a hell of a lot more sense than getting the ball well into Dallas territory thanks to penalties and doing fuck all with it. Oh, you made a field goal without pissing yourselves. Let's plan the parade. And by that I mean allowing Cooper Rush to march down the field on your so-called elite defense. How the hell do you screw up so badly to get defensive delay of game on a 3rd and 16? The horns now cry in the deep. Skloll.
First and goal. To the end zone, and it is Hill for the touchdown.
I knew they were gonna shit the bed. If you know anything about this franchise, this is what they do. Never argue with me otherwise. Dallas played hard and got rewarded for it. And sometimes that's all it takes. It's 11 o'clock. Do you know why Mike Zimmer hasn't been fired yet? Football. It's a very strange game. So simple in theory, but with so many moving parts and the constant need for innovation, anything can derail a game plan on a given Sunday. Dallas at home against one of the most uninspiring teams thrown out onto a field this year? With Dak Prescott back from injury? On paper, this should result in Vic Fangio getting hung by his drawers on that gigantic fucking scoreboard. Little did we all know that the Cowboys must have assumed it was January. They shit the bed. So goddamn hard on both sides of the ball. Even the special teams do the unbelievable by blocking a punt but touching it past the line of scrimmage. Technically considering it a muff as Denver recovers it for a first down. Unlike that fluke play, the Bronco defense came out and played like they had emulated their 2015 form. Absolute supremacy. It's the Mike McCarthy special. When talent can't bail him out, the team he coaches looks like it just shit its pants. The Broncos played up to what they thought they were at the beginning of the year. Elite defense with an efficient offense and timely playmaking. I only ask one question. Where the hell was this earlier? There's nothing like dunking on the Dallas Cowboys for losing in terrible fashion. It's a week-long celebration for all of us. Except for when they realize they have incredible talent. Then we simply hope everything implodes, but were you not paying attention during the last segment? The football world cannot have anything wholesome. Quite a good win for them last week, right? Coming back after blowing yet another lead by not shitting it on offense? They must have used all of their power on that comeback drive. Dallas had scheduled a public sacrifice on Sunday, conveniently using the Falcons as offering for a chance at another playoff win. Jerry Jones will feast on the ashes of the damned. As Atlanta's organs are harvested while they're alive, they will slowly die hearing 4 words. How about them Cowboys? This game showed last week was a fluke for both teams. We will now return to our regularly scheduled narratives. This was a crucial test for Kansas City. They had a great game last week, but that's only one matchup against an opponent prone to mid-season prolapses. Now Dallas, though, they're a legitimate challenge. They may be without Amari Cooper due to COVID, but you can't take them lightly. The Cowboys can dice a suspect defense up 20 times before the end of the second quarter. But this year is different. The NFL tells us all to fuck our narratives. Dallas is being frustrated by the Chiefs' defense. The mighty star can do nothing against them. Some of it is due to situations of Dallas laying an egg in the middle of Arrowhead, but the defensive line dominated in the trenches all game long. It wasn't pretty to see. The Chiefs' offense was quite inconsistent, as it usually has been this season. But what they did was enough to take down a strong contender. I'm more surprised that the Cowboy offense was dispatched by Kansas City of all teams. Maybe Dallas was just that inept offensively again. For the second time in 3 weeks. What the hell? Dallas. The soap opera that never got off the ground was filmed here last season. They had flashes of dramatic brilliance, but nothing that was truly iconic. A few things undid it. Firstly, the on-field chaos wasn't sustained. And secondly, the Dallas Cowboys are a good team this season. Their fans boasted that Dak was all they needed to get back to relevance. We laughed in their faces. But it turns out they were right. Not only laying claim to a reinvigorated offense, but an elite defense led by a Dan Quinn more in his comfort zone. He oversaw great legions in Seattle. Without Trayvon Diggs and Micah Parsons are performing in his scheme, America's team has become rightfully insufferable. The boys have lost 2 out of 3 with their offense inexplicably shutting down, but those are fluke concerns. Soap opera aficionados can look elsewhere for their fix, because it isn't happening here. Maybe they can try their opponent. The Las Vegas Raiders are having a season for the ages. A drama-filled epic that will be regaled in the same light as the 1993 Houston Oilers and the bickering Bills when it's all said and done. From the tales of Gruden's emails to Henry Ruggs to Damon Arnett to several of their locker room leaders being torn apart by injury. It's cruel dark humor that would have been seen in the works of Voltaire. A series of painful events that have shaken the team to its core. Las Vegas has barely been able to hold on, but they're losing grip quickly on the situation. They've lost 3 straight in depressing fashion. A fear lingers on in the black hole. The annual midseason collapse is underway. The Raiders need to bounce back quickly if they are to salvage the year. Not many are giving them a chance, and for good reason. Many expect the Cowboys to dispatch the Raiders with ease. This ain't the 70s anymore, Grandpa. The autumn wind doesn't flow through Dallas. It's because they play in a dome. Hopefully one that will protect the remaining wide receivers. CeeDee Lamb wasn't able to make it past concussion protocol, thus forcing Jerry to kill several doctors for this failure. Corey Cooper had one too many unprotected flings with Corona Chen and is still stuck in COVID protocol. Their receiving core is hollowed out. It shouldn't be a major issue though, especially as the game begins with a deep touchdown to Deshaun Jackson. Deshaun Jackson? Shouldn't that guy have a show on the Vegas Strip or something? Dude is 34 and he's still burning secondaries across football. Dallas has slight grumblings but no real concerns as of yet. Them boys. They're going to the promised land. Dak and Zeke and Amari are the truth. Okay, not Amari today, but once he gets back, he will be. With this efficient, tactful drive for a quick touchdown, there's no reason not to believe this. As Greg the wide left leg strikes with fury and misses the extra point. Of course. But look and behold, a juicy fumble and outstanding heads-up play by the defense to recover the ball. The bad news was that Darren Waller didn't take 3 full steps and it was ruled an incomplete pass. Raiders get really lucky here. Half a second longer and this is a fumble. Everyone bitches at Mike McCarthy for being useless, but he probably couldn't challenge the ruling to begin with. The fortunate thing is that there is confidence that the Raiders will lose everything at the craps table. They can do nothing against Dallas might. But the officials can. Pass interference on Anthony Brown. He's a special character, this corner. He believes in the power of BOGO. You get 1 pass interference call of greater or equal value free from the most hated man in Frisco. That Vegas touchdown drive was thanks to Anthony Brown, and nothing else. But that's Samirich to the real star of this game, the ref ball. Oh, the performances by Sean Hockley and his crew put every game changer on the Cowboys to shame. Great runs undone by shaky holding calls. Penalty after penalty thrown onto the field, mostly against Dallas if you ask Cowboys fans. The refs either had money on this game or are expert trolls. Las Vegas may be up 17-6, but the officials are making the game about themselves and or the lack of discipline on both teams. These two are some of the most penalized teams in the league, you know. Dallas is now in no man's land on 4th and 7. Punt the ball or go for it? No, just make Greg the wide left leg try to kick it from 59 yards out. He at least doinked it for the memes. After even more penalty flags thrown onto the field, the Cowboys offense somehow was not penalized for a big game. Up next, we will see how Tony Pollard has become a better running back than Zeke is right now. Touchdown, Cowboys. Life is restoring to order. At halftime, league executives are masturbating furiously. We have a game again. And nothing makes it more of a revival of the 70s than a massive brawl taking place after a routine punt. The jabs, the jawing, and the scrums brought back the fury. Kelvin Joseph and Roderick Teamer started the battle, but it's undeniable. Both teams want this game. Both teams need this game. And best of all, nobody is going to be suspended for this fracas. Just mandatory donations to the NFL settlement with St. Louis Fund. Perhaps that money could be used to help the Cowboys as they seem to be struggling for the third time in 4 weeks against an opponent they should be crushing, but something else is a scapegoat. Wonderful ref ball. How is this roughing the passer? What do you want Micah Parsons to do here? Derek Carr is falling to the ground and the helmet hits are incidental. But that's the rule of the land, apparently. We can't breathe on quarterbacks because ratings. It's good enough to get the Raiders back to a 2-score lead. If only there was elite talent that could bail out the Cowboys from this horrible predicament.
Here I come to save the day.
The perfect play for the perfect situation. Excellent tactical genius to get Tony Pollard to run a kickback for a touchdown. Tom Landry himself couldn't write it up any better. This pylon was given a 15-yard penalty for taunting an official. Can we also give the Dallas offense a 15-yard penalty for trying to be too cute on the 2-point conversion? Dallas is still down by 5, so they'll need a strong defensive stand to have any chance of victory. It would have been perfect if it weren't for Anthony fucking Brown. His third defensive PI on the day. Anyone who bet on the over on how many penalties he had is now in the money. I bet the officials may have made a few parlays themselves. The Raiders were at least stopped in their tracks for a field goal. However, there was a glum feeling throughout Jerry's shrine. Dallas is having certain victories slip through their grasp. They know what they need to survive. High-end talent, baby. The kind of performances that make Jerry Boy hard in his executive suite. The relentless offensive attack ends the agony in 4 plays. But they call more penalties on the offense. They can't recover from the Zebras and must settle for a field goal. And they must settle for their secondary falling apart until the last possible moment, conveniently saved by more ref ball. False start because the center moved his head? Really? The lead is back up to 8 for Las Vegas. Time is no longer on their side. Dem boys now have less than 4 minutes to score a touchdown and salvage the match. That's it? 4 minutes? This is nothing for the group Jerry Jones has assembled. Don't they know that everything is expected to be given to the Cowboys? It's in the NFL charter. I'm not kidding, look it up. Gaze at all of their talent as they score another touchdown in 2 plays. Their legend grows with a 2-point conversion. Outstanding tactical genius by Mike McCarthy. No one can be carried by talent better than him. But the Raiders return the favor, and they will push hard again. However, there's a problem. They are in extreme range for a field goal. Daniel Carlson will need to be at his best to save them here.
Carlson's kick. And it is good.
He's come a long way from being thrown under a train by Mike Zimmer, hasn't he? An immaculate shot to give the Raiders another 3-point lead. Now the Cowboys need to strike again within 2 minutes this time. By the good Lord above, do they succeed. The back and forth battles of forward passes and flags fly as if they are special effects. The budget for this game must have been enormous. And as they line up for a field goal to tie the game, we know the motto.
Here's the kick from 45 for the tie. Zerline delivers.
Everything's bigger in Texas. Even the Thanksgiving games. We're going to overtime. Cowboys fans can see it now. A chance at the number 1 seed in the NFC. It's a long shot, but never say never. The truth is that Dallas is winning. It has been written in the book of Jerry many times before. Receiving the ball first in overtime, it is quickly revealed to us that the Cowboys suffer another penalty, ripping them in the back. Followed by a quick 3-and-out and forced punt. The Raiders, shocker, take another penalty. They must trek over 75 yards to find pay dirt. And while Josh Jacobs blistered through Dallas's vaunted defense, Micah Parsons is a fucking beast. There's no way they're converting a 3rd and 18.
Carr was looking at him. Now he goes the other side. Down the field to Zay Jones. And it's going to generate another flag on Anthony Brown.
Anthony fucking Brown. I would highly recommend he leave Dallas by secret passageway after this game, for the city is ready to kill him along with the officials. 4 critical pass interference penalties, this one a potential killing blow. Gotta turn your head around, man, this isn't Detroit. Now the Raiders are in field goal range and hope is all but lost. The Raiders will bide their time and line up for the kick. Just let the optimism die. But first, more big plays from our lovely officials. False start on the offense to push them back 5 yards. Okay, that previous statement was deceitful. Let's end it now. It'd be nice if the Cowboys didn't jump off sides there. Perhaps the 3rd time's a charm for once. What is discipline? Is that some ancient art form that was abolished by the Catholic Church? Goodwin's anti-heroics saved the Raiders from missing a crucial field goal since the play was blown dead. The refs are turning into Oprah.
You get a penalty, you get a penalty, and you get a penalty. Everyone's getting flagged today.
Here we go. This time for real. And it is delivered. Good.
How about them zebras? It only took us 4 tries, but the Raiders do the unthinkable. They not only potentially salvaged their season, but massively upset the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas in a game they needed to have. 38.5 million people saw impeccable ref ball with a side of pigskin. What a gutsy performance by Las Vegas. Their roller coaster year of insanity and indignity continues on as their collapse may have been exaggerated. And we know what's responsible for this. A coin. Like all things that make no sense in 2021, it has accurately predicted the outcome of every single Raiders game this season. If it is correct, it predicts that they will sneak into the 7th seed with a 10-7 record. All hail the coin. May its wisdom and impartiality guide us in all aspects of life. The greatest game brought about an equally greater aftermath for Dallas. Jerry Jones was irate. The volcano has erupted with fury. Jerry Boy has publicly lambasted both the officials and the league for their incompetence in ref ball. He demands discretion in how games are reffed, since it was his team that lost this crucial contest. Jerry will both be writing an angry email to the NFL and planting a severed horse's head in Rodgers' bed. Despite his anger, all of the complaining still won't save them from reality. Their number 1 seed aspirations are all but gone. Potentially 3 games back of it with 6 games left? Near impossible. Just like the final stats from the greatest game itself. Let us take a moment and truly reflect on the majesty that we have just seen. If John Madden were still giving out turkey legs, they should go to Sean Hockley and his officiating crew for their impactful performance in all facets. Jerry Jones would certainly agree. Over the past few weeks, this question has been gnawing at my mind. How would the New Orleans Saints be doing if their offense wasn't destroyed by injury? I know it's a repetitive narrative, but when you've lost nearly every single playmaker on it for weeks on end, when you're forced to start Taysom football at quarterback, he just received an extension that may or may not pay him $40 to $95 million, but that won't be able to let him throw accurately down the field. Although an injury may have something to do with that, Dallas was absolutely beatable. Their potent rushing game stuff like shrimp against the Saints, but they responded with nothing. Just wasted opportunities one after another. Think of it like trying to give a junkie money to straighten their life out. What do you think they're gonna do with it? They'll throw 4 interceptions so they can get their next fix. Dallas is merely their dealer. The Saints have lost 5 straight and are spiraling to the deep chasms of hell. Jerry's team is a strong defense and earned this win, but all New Orleans can do is pray. Pray for something. I wouldn't say anything because then they'll be flagged on a bullshit blindside block penalty, killing off yet another drive. Dallas is waltzing into this matchup in an insanely arrogant manner. Mike McCarthy guaranteed that not only would he be carried to relevance by talent, he guaranteed victory against name redacted. It's easy to feel confident when the team brings their own heated benches to FedEx Field because Dan Snyder doesn't give a fuck about upgrading or maintaining stadium infrastructure. He also doesn't seem to care about anything about his team showing up to the game or not, as Dallas is undergoing a transformation into their Final Four. One that feasts on their inferior NFC East prey. Dak may be on a month-long slump from his usual standard, but that doesn't mean the Cowboy defense can't fuck everything up for Washington. Taylor Heineke is Jekyll and Hyde personified. One day you'll get the good form. Today you get complete fucking garbage. With said relentless defensive pressure, it turns into a laughable 24-0 shitfest by halftime. But don't you dismiss this game for a goddamn minute because Dallas chose to take their foot off the fucking gas. Washington has a chip on their shoulder. And don't you forget that. Furious comeback into the hope is all we can hope for at this point. With Dak throwing pick sixes like this, it's a reality. It doesn't matter if Taylor Heineke is hobbled and forced to leave the game for Kyle Allen, formerly of the Carolina Panthers. He has a shot to lead them on a final drive to victory.
Pressure, Allen in trouble, throws it, that might be a fumble, it's loose, it's picked up by Dallas!
It would be nice if Washington's O-line could block. So much for the comeback. Fortunately, the NFC is pretty shit, so the Reskins still hold the 7th seed. They somehow control their own destiny. Fucked up to think. We can all agree this year has been insanely fucked for the NFL. Most games like the last one we recap feel like they're on some kind of drug cocktail. It's exhausting to follow this league some weeks. The only benefit is in memes fresh out of the oven. You thought it couldn't get worse. An old friend has reemerged onto the scene. Corona-chan is back from her lengthy vacation and wreaking havoc on every sports league throughout America. The NFL has felt her wrath hard. You may have noticed all the coughing last week. It was for good reason. Over 150 cases in the league over a 5-day span. It's not Pokemon to catch. Coronavirus is running a train throughout multiple organizations. Cleveland and the Rams have over 25 players in COVID protocol. Washington has over 20. Other teams like the Bears, Texans, and Lions are getting wrecked as well. 8 teams are in enhanced COVID protocols. This is the worst case scenario we were fearing last season, and we're seeing it happen in front of our eyes. The NFLPA pleaded with the league for games to be postponed, but of course they waited until the last moment. In a shocker, the Shield cared more about game integrity than cold hard cash. The Saturday Browns and Raiders tilt has been pushed to Monday. Seahawks versus Rams and Reskins versus Eagles have been rescheduled for Tuesday. We have it again in doubleheader form, boys! Tuesday Night Football! Any chance we can get a Wednesday night game? For all the glorious memes? I honestly believe that the world would be much better off if the New York Giants simply stopped existing. We can ship them off on a boat to nowhere along with the Jets and Bill de Blasio and Andrew Cuomo. New York City will be infinitely happier. There was pretty much no contest from the opening kickoff. The Cowboys pulled out their dicks and slapped their opponent with them for 60 consecutive minutes. Mike McCarthy didn't even have to guarantee victory, because he already knows in his heart that the G-men are refuse that escaped from a Staten Island landfill. Mike Glennon managed to quarterback his team into shitty infrastructure, and he was eventually mercy killed for Jake from State Farm. Imagine thinking that this team has a chance to do anything. Dallas will laugh in your faces and stomp them into the ground. Fans, I know things suck for you at MetLife, but ownership has heard your cries. They'll be rewarding all season ticket holders with a free medium soda. Oh my God. Your loyalty is worth all of $10. They couldn't even spring for a souvenir cup? Oh my God. If you ever wanted a history lesson about Manifest Destiny, this is pretty close to what it was like. So the Reskins still want to try their stunt of flying in their own benches. That's nice. How about we take a closer look at that skeleton of yours as Dallas rips it right out of your skin? The Reskins were merely being imposters on the open plain while the Cowboys shot them all and burned everything to the ground. Washington put up next to no resistance against a relentless offensive attack. Hell, they put up more of a fight against each other on the fucking sidelines. There are decimations of medieval villages, and then there is whatever the fuck Jerry's horde just unleashed upon the world. It felt like years of pent-up aggression towards an ancient blood feud. This game was done before the first snap, but Dallas does not give a shit. Jesus Christ, Cowboys, they've been dead for 45 minutes! All you're doing is pounding their disintegrated corpse into dust. The only thing you had to do was break your sewage pipes above their sidelines for irony's sake. But this is next level rage. Boys, while your bloodlust is still causing you to destroy everything in sight, here's an NFC East to lord over. God help us all. So now the Cardinals realize that they had to generate momentum heading into the playoffs? Better late than never, I guess, but Arizona finally went back to flexing their might on the poor fools that try to stun on them. Kyler Murray is the savior of coaches that fail to game plan properly. In so many ways, his fantastic performance bailed out Arizona from an embarrassing freefall, and proved to the world why he's undefeated at the shrine to Jerry Jones's ego. If I were Jerry Boy, I'd wonder if the 26th camera shot of me and my mega squeak captures my panic at the team offense. Besides one loud blip against Washington, it's been damn awful for the past month and change. Dak doesn't look confident. The schematics are out of sync. They can't convert third downs. Not to mention Michael Gallup is now out with a torn ACL. Yes, the Cowboys managed to make it a game in the second half, but then we realized that Mike McCarthy's only strength is being carried by high-end talent. The reason why is on the final drive. This play before the 2-minute warning was a fumble. However, McCarthy couldn't challenge it since the dumbass burned all his timeouts beforehand. Game over. Cardinals win and stay alive for their division. Dallas, you there? You want to be a one and done again? Because this is how that happens. Get your shit together. can't really gauge this game for anything of note since Philly was wrecked by Corona-chan and injuries. Most of their good starters were out for this match. You know what? That's honestly for the best. They already have a wildcard spot wrapped up. Get the COVID wave out of the way before the postseason. Better here than then. Dallas would have been tough in normal circumstances, but in these? You might as well have kissed any hopes goodbye. No amount of Minshew magic could save them against the Cowboys. They barely broke a sweat. It was pretty much a tune-up game for them in a postseason where they desperately need to show up. There have been many uncomfortable flaws poking out of their supposedly perfect exterior. You can't shit on them here since they did what they had to do, but there will be many asking what their upside will be. And there will continue to be until they prove them all wrong. That's all I can say here. Dallas, take the free scoreagami and go. This has been a season. So many twists and turns that it's hard to conceive with the naked eye. If you were looking at this year seriously, it was absolutely exhausting. But do you know the true bounty to cherish? The memes. It was fucking gold for this economy. Thanks to incredible collapses, fantastic comebacks, Urban Meyer's coaching tenure, and whatever the fuck Antonio Brown did in the Jets game. If the bigger games are going to be as fucked as the regular season is, I expect plenty of shenanigans to come in the future. Get ready. The NFL playoffs are about to begin. Should have built more fallout shelters. The arrogance of Dallas Cowboys fans have reached radioactive levels not seen in years. We should have heeded their warnings. They said all they needed was Dak to come back and they'd be back at the top. We laughed at them. Little did we all know that using that missing piece unlocked horrors beyond our wildest nightmares. The Cowboys became legit again. The offense is a power unlike any other. Not just with Dak, but with a two-headed monster at running back and wideouts oozing with talent. God help those that have to go up against their revived defense. Against Micah Parsons wrecking everything in sight. With Trayvon Diggs intercepting nearly every pass that goes his way. When he's not getting blown off the ball in coverage. Even Mike McCarthy, with his tremendous powers of being carried by elite talent to relevance, will relish in this wonderful opportunity. Just don't mention that the offense has been slumping relentlessly this past month and the team as a whole is undisciplined. If you avoid those topics, you'll be fine. While Dallas roots for a Super Bowl, the rest of us wish for 3 words. One and done. January in Dallas. A time and place where success isn't just expected, it's a birthright. For far too long, the Cowboys have been robbed of such glories due to what they may consider as a league-wide conspiracy. This year, however, things are different. Unlike the past 25 times Cowboys fans beat their chest about the franchise, they will be making incredible noise this postseason. If not in the playoffs, it will be by their fans yelling incessantly about them going to the Super Bowl. Even if they haven't made a conference championship in decades. A critical contest is about to begin for the Cowboys. For Jerry Jones, anything less than a powerful Super Bowl run will be punishable by death. Everything has been lining up for a date with destiny. Their first opponent to feast on will be San Francisco. The 49ers have been limp and ripe for the taking. Or so they think. San Fran did struggle to start out the year, but have been riding an impressive heat wave since that time. They were nearly knocked out of the playoffs entirely after being led to a cliff by the Los Angeles Rams. But fortunately, a fantastic MacGuffin descended from the heavens to save them in their time of need. His name is Deebo Samuel. Thanks to his efforts, an old rivalry will be renewed. Classic battles between these two franchises litter the landscape of football lore. And there's hope for another one to add to the legend books. Many may believe that the 49ers have a chance at stealing this wildcard game away from the hungry fans of Dallas, but Zeke needs to feed. Dak needs to join him. The defense is hungry. People can bitch about their so-called soft schedule all they want, but Dallas is legit. Where else can the Cowboys prove their superiority over the Bay Area than a clear path to their deepest playoff run in an age? Look at how the fans rush into the stadium. Over 93,000 people flocking to their religious shrine. It's Black Friday, but with football. They want to be the first to relish in the Cowboys and their greatness. This day will be even more special than it already is, however. This bout will be the place for the second Nickelodeon Bowl. Nothing makes things more epic than a CGI blimp defecating slime onto the field, and horrible slime monsters being summoned by Jerry to help the Cowboys win. Many believe that the Cowboys would have trouble with the 49ers running game. What a shock to those that knew the stakes, they would have trouble with their rushing attack and mid-range passing game. San Francisco would teach a masterclass on offensive production to score a convincing touchdown. Get ready, Dallas. There's plenty more where that came from. The Cowboy offense enjoys such a challenge by getting their shit wrecked by the defense. Can't just win by saying you're Dallas today now, can you? San Francisco has come to play, but there is hope. The revamped Cowboy defense managed to finally stop them in their tracks. They must settle for a field goal. The Dallas offense is moving with this great pass to CeeDee Lamb. Did I mention this team took the most penalties of anyone in the league this season? Whatever Dallas does, they keep getting in their own goddamn way. When they're not trying to unsuccessfully play NFL Street, they're taking more fucking penalties to give the Niners first downs. The defense is being revealed as a smoke and mirror show, as they give up big play after big play. Yet somehow Dallas Might is standing firm. They once again force Robbie Gould to use his leg to go up by 13. Now we can see the incredible talents of the Cowboy offense go to work. See them feed the beasts at running back? Cedric Wilson using breakneck speed to bust out big plays? Dak spiraling the ball for a touchdown? Of course you do. This is Dallas, and it's as constant as TV broadcasts cutting to Jerry Sweet during games. And it's also as constant as Trayvon Diggs being gashed for yardage and coverage. We'll ignore that, however, because he's a first-team All-Pro. The Cowboys at least stopped the Niners again and forced another field goal? Still only down by 2 scores? That's a plus, right? The time ticks to 3 minutes left until halftime. And things are getting a tad dicey in Dallas. They need to move quickly, but there are natural enemies of the Cowboys' might. The sun. For some hilarious reason, they have the windows facing to the west. So when the sun sets, it's a hindrance to any sort of passing game. Do you think you could catch like this? Fuck no, it's as if Gandalf and the Rohirrim are charging down to Helm's Deep. As Mike McCarthy mangles yet another game clock, the Cowboys head to halftime down by 2 scores. San Fran has the advantage, but there is trouble brewing. Nick Bosa was knocked out of the game with a concussion. They're losing a significant piece to their pass rush. It won't matter much if the Cowboys keep taking so many goddamn penalties, they may as well be sacks. Speaking of which, they sacked him anyway. Thank God for bad penalties taken by the Niners to give them life, but they do jack shit with it. The only benefit to this sloppiness is the punter hitting the scoreboard with a kick. One of the greatest names in football. Anger, sadly wasted on a punter. I only wish he were a linebacker. There is ugliness abound. Miscommunications, more goddamn penalties by the Cowboys, Dak dying because he has no line and then throwing a brutal interception near his own red zone. Is this your king, Dallas? Because I'll show you a true king. His name is Debo, and he's scoring touchdowns when he's not starring alongside Ice Cube in Friday. Dallas is suffering another deep depression. Their vaunted offense can do nothing. When they somehow do something, like an oddly incredible fake punt for a first down, they're so incompetently run that the punt team stands there, unmenacingly, for 30 seconds. And as they shit their pants and try to rush the main unit onto the field, they're so fucked that they trigger a delay of game penalty. Offensive geniuses at work. Lined up against the wall and a firing squad in front of them, they are headed to the 4th with nothing going. And all they can hope for is for San Fran to fuck up. Field goals to cut the lead to 13 won't cut it. It'd be wonderful for Mike McCarthy and company to be bailed out by this incredible blessing.
Here's a 2nd and 11. Garoppolo getting away from the trouble. Overthrows it, gets picked. It's intercepted.
On cue, the miracle has arrived. Jimmy Garoppolo suffered a shoulder injury earlier in the game, and it might be messing up his throwing mechanics. The Cowboys have life. Thank the gods for this bounty. Mike McCarthy is going to be carried by the talents of guys like Dak yet again. We have a game. Even worse for San Fran, Fred Warner went down with injury and will be out for the remainder of this contest. I swear to fuck Niners, if you blow this, Kyle Shanahan will never be able to live his blown leads down. We hate it, but San Francisco is embracing the powers of self-destruction. So Dallas has a chance to be insufferable for yet another week. Look at their opportunistic chances to overcome their own fuck-ups. They have a chance to do something great, but time is running short. Every trick in the book is used, but 4th down is upon us. We pray that talent does not save them again.
They're coming! You bet they are. Here they come. They're on them. Desperation heave, and it's incomplete. He's open.
Sometimes that kind of magic can only go so far. It was a great effort by both QB and wideout, but not enough to convert in the end. Your dreams shattered because Cedric Wilson was unable to hold on to the ball. Wow, we feel so sad for you. And all was finished and nothing happened from this point forward. The end. This was the end of the game, right? It isn't?
Jesus Christ, refs, just let it fucking end! Nobody wants Dallas to win! God damn it, don't respot the ball to Rob Debo for first down! End this waste of a video already!
4th and inches. They move Williams to the right side. There is the sneak, and he's successful again.
God damn it, Niners. Are you trying to get people fired?
They snapped the ball before Trent Williams was set. It's bullshit, but the rules are the rules. And they must punt the ball back to Dallas, which immediately goes for a touchback. Dak has time to get the 75 yards they need, but the Cowboys have no timeouts. Fortunately, San Francisco was trying to hand them the win and cannot comprehend the obnoxious abilities of Jerry's boys. The seconds are ticking, and Dallas is at a fever pitch. But even we cannot comprehend the greatest trick play of all.
You need someone, San Francisco, to get to the quarterback here. Prescott takes off running the football. Whoa, I don't think this is going to work out. Well, they'll be on the clock. They were playing for it. Down. Oh, my God. The official gets in the way. It's over. Yes, the game is over. Oh, he did.
Gridiron seppuku. This is some of the most hilarious shit I've ever seen. You ran a quarterback draw up the middle with no timeouts? And it wasn't only called by offensive genius Kellen Moore, but approved by McCarthy. With a lack of awareness like that, Dallas deserves to eat all the fucking shit in the world. But the cries of ref ball will be heard throughout the land. I thought this at first, but they were so unprepared for the moment that this deserves a deep dive. First, the call. Dak runs the QB sneak, but doesn't slide until he's near an opposing player. Not at around the 30 or 35 for a Hail Mary, which takes about a second or two off the clock. As they get up, nobody's showing urgency. But to the naked eye, it looks like there was some of the most heinous ref ball interrupting the snap. Here's why the ref ran into the fray. An official must set the ball before it can be snapped. If Dallas ran a play, it would have been a penalty and 10-second runoff, thus ending the game. Yet, even if they managed to snap it with a second left, Dak spiked the ball with no time on the clock. So the game would have ended there as well. Good fucking job, Dallas. You're so inept that you played yourselves and claim it's a conspiracy. The only thing the Cowboys and their fans gain is another notch to their entitlement and victim complex. As America's team considers this the new death sketch, fans celebrate their alleged robbery of greatness by chucking garbage at the officials. Cowboys players and the useless blowhard of a coach approve of such acts, because it's best to ignore the 14 penalties they took for 89 yards and sloppy play all around. The city really does get its wish. You have a scapegoat to criticize instead of looking inwards at your own fuck-ups. Bravissimo. That's not to ignore the blatant ref ball that happened, however. After Deebo Samuel was tackled, there was 1 minute and 13 seconds left on the clock. After minutes of deliberation, the clock is set to 1:04 and a 25-second runoff. Considering a 40-second play clock, this should be set to 58 seconds instead. Dallas gained 6 seconds there. During the rundown, Kyle Shanahan calls a timeout with 38 seconds left to burn as much clock as he can. Yet when they run 4th down, the clock shows 40 seconds. Dallas added 8 seconds to their final drive. The ref ball was against San Fran. I don't want to hear a fucking word about how Dallas got robbed because they didn't. They deserve to reach their 11th straight playoff without reaching an NFC championship. Neither team deserved to advance if I'm being completely honest. They both sucked. The worst part is that Cowboys fans will never shut the fuck up about this so-called steal. But as we all know, when Dallas loses, America wins. And on Nickelodeon of all channels, so even the kids can cheer with us. Best of all, the Cowboys want to keep Mike McCarthy, and they're probably losing a ton of free agents with the cap crunch they're about to experience. So the laughter is going to keep on coming. It's a day where we can shout this with pride.
How about them Cowboys?
Oh my Come on, y'all
wish I could
producers.
fix
Come
this
on, your
place.
son
That
did.
hurts me to the core, man. Oh my God, man. Oh my God, man. Those are great people.
It's beautiful. This is beautiful, man.
Y'all gonna hijack the show with this, man.
In the house. That's what I'm talking about. Look at her. And look at the sister right there. That's my favorite one right there. She looking at y'all ain't worth it there. That's what that look is. That's what that look is right there. Leave it to the sister to be real, right? You see that? Oh, she's showing with the blue wig on. Look at this brother right here.
These jokers
Beautiful,